My name's Jeffrey Hepburn. I'm the visual effects creative director, sort of, for Conjures of Composition. I've been teaching myself how to be a filmmaker since elementary school, since I was 10 years old and earlier. So my past has involved a lot of sort of open source film communities, learning from them, learning how to do After Effects, Premiere Pro, how to do effects, and how indies manage to do their effects for their films. My past work includes a lot of PSAs, documentaries, film projects, a lot of sort of experimental short films that I'd worked on, lots of little effects demos where I wanted to play with things like how can I do smoke particle effects, how can I do sparks, fire, explosions, things like that. Things which, as a teenager was very exciting. I can blow things up, catch fire, set fires, do things like that, which is really exciting. Because when I started out with film, what I wanted to do was I wanted to be an actor. I ended up going to a fine arts magnet middle school because I wanted to do acting, I wanted to do drama, and I still think I'm a decent enough actor. I quickly learned in middle school that I felt a lot more comfortable, and I felt I had a lot more creative flexibility being behind the camera, having computers, learning CGI, open source software like Blender, which allowed me to create worlds that I really couldn't capture with, middle school learners' garage with a little flip phone camera. You couldn't do a lot of these things, so it allowed me that sort of freedom to experiment and to create and to build and to work up towards where I am today. So I've done a lot of experimental shorts, PSAs, documentaries. I've also done a little bit of professional-ish film work for restaurants and little music videos and things for friends. The big short film that I worked on before being brought on to Conjures of Composition was a short film called Survivors, which was a brainchild of myself and some friends from from high school. It started off as this big sort of war epic, which we couldn't do. It was one of those things where you'd need a big film crews and cranes and stuff that we couldn't do, but you're 15, you think of stupid, crazy, action kind of films. But what I took away from having these discussions with my friends from the time was sort of this dystopian sort of world where we were exploring this idea of what would happen if people were reverted back to sort of anarchy, what would happen if people had to lose a lot of their moral comfort and have to fight for freedom again. And I wanted to explore the relationship of people and weaponry and their sanity as they're fighting for themselves and trying to keep themselves alive, and everything they've lost and everything they've loved being gone and destroyed. And so we ran it was about 3-4 years back now. We ran a successful Indiegogo campaign, which funded basically all of the equipment I have now, everything that's helped me really sort of be a success as I am a filmmaker now. We ended up doing auditions about 9 months to a year after that. Filming was about the end of last summer, moving into December, and we've got everything sort of filmed, editing. We're still tweaking and stuff, and we're working on figuring out how we're going to actually do a premiere for that film. But a lot of that background helped in not only understanding the extents of what I can do and what I can do guerrilla shooting, learning to deal and react to situations really quickly, because shooting an action film with guns and everything, we ended up having to use an airsoft field so we wouldn't get SWAT teams called on us. So it was a learning experience, I think, in a very unique sort of way, because I was sort of thrown in the deep end, 16, 17, suddenly in charge of college students and stuff who were volunteering their amazing acting talent in the middle of a forest area that we were just given at the back of an airsoft field through the kindness of the owners, and sort of going, okay, I have a rough script and I know what I want the shots to look like, but these locations are bizarre. What do we do? So it was a very sort of rough and tumble way to learn how to do filmmaking, guerrilla shooting, and to learn the extents of my equipment and reacting rapidly to, okay, here's what we've got, here's what we have, it's going to rain in an hour, we need to get something done this week, go. And so what I think I provide to this project especially is a fast turnover time and the ability to remain level-headed in very chaotic situations. I've learned, especially with these behind-the-scenes videos, to love the vlog-style jump cuts. It covers up a lot of the mistakes we're making, a lot of the awkwardness and tension gets alleviated, all those moments where we're sort of joking around, laughing, trying to figure out, okay, how do we act somewhat professional? It helps to sort of cover that up, and I've learned how to sort of deal and react and in a sort of positive way take control of the situation, to direct the situation, which was I think was a really important learning experience. And I've also learned some of the ins and outs of what makes a good effects shot and how you film that in a way that's going to help you in the editing room. If you're trying to do dialogue, it's very difficult, especially if the actors are moving different ways, and what do you need to look out for, how much choreographing goes into it. But I think one of the big assets for me as far as going into this film is the fact that I was brought on by my friend Roberto, and he's a very, I wouldn't say stringent, he's a very thinking, he likes planning, he likes having a sort of storyboard, everything laid out, everything sort of perfect in place. He's much more slow, logical, he likes knowing what's going to happen. So I think he tempers a lot of the more rapid, spastic nature I learned from guerrilla shooting, and together I think we can create something really amazing for Conjurers. Because I have that sort of rapid fire nature of, okay, here's what we want to do, take control of the situation, here's how we can achieve what we want in the easiest way possible. And he brings in that sort of forethought and planning and calmness that sort of counteracts my kind of, all right, here's what we gotta go with it, go. So I'm really excited. This project is really kind of amazing because it combines so many different talents, so many different styles. It's got so much fluidity for genres and cinematography, experimenting with color and camera placement and camera movement and lighting and every aspect of film that I really didn't get to play with in Survivors because it was such a guerrilla shoot. So I think this really allows me to see more of my potential than I have ever really before. Especially considering so many of my past films are just sort of me setting up a tripod and going, okay, I'm gonna monologue now, go. So yeah, I'm really excited. I can't wait to see where this project goes. It's still in the pre-planning phase right now, sort of, okay, laying the groundworks, who are we gonna audition, how are we gonna audition, how are we gonna pair them up, magicians and poets, and where are we gonna go from here.